You keep confusing sweetness with strategy. You keep thinking being nice is a down payment on desire. You collect polite smiles like receipts and wonder why no one ever cashes in the feeling you're trying to buy. You know what you're doing. You offer convenience. You smooth every edge. You make yourself easy to handle. You become agreeable out of fear, then call it being a good person. You place your throat on the table and wait for praise for how gentle you're being with a knife. Here's the mechanism you don't want to see. Desire needs tension. Niceness kills tension. No tension, no pull. No pull, no hunger. You flatten the field, and then you hate that nothing rolls toward you. You thought safety creates attraction. Safety creates comfort. Comfort creates complacency. Complacency creates boredom. Boredom suffocates desire. You engineered your own disappearance. Go back to the last conversation you overmanaged. You answered quickly, cheerfully, with excessive punctuation to signal warmth. You preempted any potential discomfort. You used 3 sentences where 1 no would have done. You were trying to be liked more than you were trying to be felt. You diluted yourself until there was nothing left to taste. Name the impulse, the fawn response, not kindness, not empathy, appeasement. You moderate yourself to escape rejection. You hope niceness will negotiate against loss. It won't. It only negotiates against respect. Being nice is a form of control. You think you're being generous. You're trying to steer. You hide your agenda behind softness, so you never have to risk a hard ask. You avoid the edge where you could be told no. You make yourself small and expect to be cherished for your restraint. You confuse your lack of boundaries with love. The other person experiences your posture as pressure with a smiley face on it. They sense the contract. They sense the debt you'll call in later. Desire hates insincere terms. Mechanism. Availability inflation. Anything overly available collapses in perceived value. You flood the market with your attention. Price falls. Not because you are worthless, but because you remove cost, and human attention measures worth in cost. Your time is free. Your interest is free. Your approval is free. Free signals unwanted. Free often signals defective. Free is suspect. You cure nothing by insisting you're different. You reinforce the signal by explaining. You've sensed this in others before. Someone wrapped you in sweetness too fast. Someone prized you before they even met you. You felt creeped out. You couldn't explain why. Now you're doing the same thing and calling it courtesy. You think kindness means removing friction. Real kindness is not frictionless. Real kindness has spine. When you're kind, you decide where you end. When you're nice, you erase the line and hand over the marker. People don't desire erasures. They desire edges. Desire rides on a gradient. It moves from lower certainty to higher certainty, from less access to more access. You reverse the gradient. You start at maximum access, maximum predictability, maximum agreement. There's nowhere to climb. You built a staircase with 1 step and wonder why no one's breathless at the top. You apologize to avoid conflict. You apologize for asking for time. You apologize for your own preferences. Your mouth keeps issuing tiny refunds for something you never charged for. Each apology tells the other person the same quiet message. Your presence is a burden even to you. What does that make them feel? Responsible for your self-erasure. You just shifted the emotional labor onto them. That doesn't make them want you. That makes them want out. You insist you don't want to be a burden. You become one by trying not to be one. That's the trap you won't admit. Niceness is a performance of low weight that forces the other person to carry the whole relationship's gravity. They're the one who has to choose, decide, disappoint, say no, set a pace. They become the adult. You become the compliant child. Desire evaporates the instant you parent yourself into a dependent role in the dynamic. Polarity collapses. No one fantasizes about managing someone who's already managing themselves out of existence. Name the effect. Status leakage. Every time you abandon your standard to make things easier for the other person, you leak status. You teach them that you will bend. You teach them you will bleed quietly. You teach them your yes is elastic. Elastic yes means meaningless yes. Meaningless yes means they can't trust your no either. Without trust in your no, there is no charge in your yes. Without charge, there is no pull. Now watch what happens in micro. Text example. Them. Hey, can we rain check? Work exploded. You. Of course. No worries at all. Any time that works for you is perfect. I totally get it. Glad you're busy. You're killing it. You think this is supportive. You just telegraphed that your time is disposable, that their priorities outrank yours, that your desire is unconditional, and that you're auditioning for approval. You praise them to dampen any discomfort from letting you down, which trains them to do it again. You removed consequence. You taught them how to treat you. Same situation, different internal stance. Same words? No, you won't let yourself imagine it. Because imagining having a standard forces you to face the risk of losing access. You'd rather keep access to a person than access to yourself. That's why the problem doesn't resolve. You want both. You can't have both. Here's the hard line you run from. Desire is selective. If you are not selective, you're not signaling desire. You're signaling hunger. Hunger doesn't create attraction. Hunger creates pity, obligation, or contempt. Sometimes all three. Name the trap. Mirror hunger. You mirror the other person's taste, schedule, humor, interests. You don't realize you are teaching them that there's nothing to discover in you. Discovery is the engine of arousal. You replaced it with compatibility theater. No one desires a mirror. They desire a world. You keep folding yourself into a reflection and calling it connection. You over-explain. You cushion your asks with paragraphs. You pad your sentences with softeners. Just maybe. If that's okay. Each filler is a confession that you don't believe you hold enough weight on your own. You dilute before anyone can resist. You surrender before anyone can contest. You think this eliminates risk. It eliminates consequence. Without consequence, your presence is weightless. Weightless things don't knock the breath out of anyone. Name the math, the ledger. Every relationship runs on one, whether anyone admits it. It's not money. It's cost and benefit measured in attention, effort, time, risk, energy, care. When you pay up front with niceness, you think you're buying credit. You're not. You're erasing the ledger and hiding the pen. The other person feels the imbalance anyway. They don't know where they stand because you refuse to stand anywhere. Ambiguity suffocates intensity. You want someone to choose you strongly while you refuse to be choosable at a price. You fear being seen as difficult. The real fear is being seen. To be seen, you have to hold a shape. You gave up shape in exchange for access. Now access is all you have, and you're starving inside it. Here's the neurological piece you've ignored. Desire is not about comfort. It's about anticipation, uncertainty, reward variance. Predictable attention numbs the system. Fixed schedule complements, instant availability, constant liking, constant checking in. This is a steady drip at room temperature. There's no spike, no cool shock, no signal of significance. You are not the unruly weather they feel their body respond to. You are climate control. No one stays awake for climate control. You keep telling yourself you're patient. You're not patient. You're passive. Patience contains tension. Passive contains surrender. You outsource the risk to the other person and then call it waiting. You do nothing and expect the universe to pay you for good manners. It won't. Notice how you help the other person rationalize their lack of interest. You over-clarify your chill. You reaffirm you're not expecting anything. You pretend not to care because you're afraid your care will be rejected. Your pretense becomes permission for them to care less. They take the discount you offered. You call them ungrateful. You created the coupon. Mechanism: test fatigue. People test boundaries unconsciously. Not because they're evil, because boundaries locate reality. Desire needs reality. You dodge tests by being extra nice. You give more than what was asked to avoid the discomfort of saying no. Each time you bypass the test, you fail it. The other person's nervous system records. Not solid, not safe, not special. Attraction drops in precise, boring increments. By the time it's gone, you can't even see where you lost it. You think something mystical happened. It didn't. You leaked in the same places every time. Name the behavior you keep rationalizing. Rescue. You fix logistics that aren't yours. You anticipate needs that weren't expressed. You ask nothing because you want to be asked for everything. The fantasy is parental. You will be indispensable and therefore impossible to leave. The reality is infantilization. You make yourself a service. No one is in love with a service. They use a service. They rate a service. They switch to a different service the moment it's more convenient. You believe that if you love harder, they will feel safer and choose you. You are not increasing safety. You are reducing consequence. Without consequence, there is no respect. Without respect, there is no tension. Without tension, desire dies. You force gratitude. You don't think you do. You insist you're doing it just because. Then you keep score in private. You bring gifts too early. You praise too quickly. You offer rides, errands, introductions, favors. You pretend you expect nothing. You don't admit you're building a case. When the verdict comes in guilty, when they don't want you, you submit exhibits. After everything I did, you are making payments on a house that wasn't for sale. You call them a thief. You never check the deed. Mechanism: overstated approval. You give feedback before it's earned. You love everything they do. You become predictable praise. Praise without discrimination is white noise. White noise is ignored. Ignored, you become louder. Louder, you become desperate. Desperate is repellent. Think about the last time you were drawn toward someone. What portion of their attention did you have? Not all. That's the point. You had to orient. You had to calibrate. Your nervous system was awake. You earned each step. You felt the slope. Their no made their yes bright. Their boundaries made their interest believable. You trusted because it cost. Your niceness is a denial of cost. You want to skip the price and keep the prize. That's why the prize keeps escaping. You keep performing emotional labor that no one asked for, so you never have to ask for what you want. Ask requires risk. Ask reveals self. Ask invites rejection. So you give instead, endlessly, and then complain you're unseen. You hid. You were never there. You put a version of you on stage who never has needs. The audience loved the show. They left the theater and forgot the actor. You are terrified of tension because you equate tension with danger. You were trained to believe approval keeps you safe. You made a religion out of agreeableness. You tithe with your time and pay with your integrity. You never noticed that devotion doesn't convert to intimacy. It converts to invisibility. You swear you're just being respectful. Respectful isn't the right word. You are being permission-seeking. You telegraph that you need someone else to license your existence in their vicinity. You ask before you move. You ask before you speak. You ask before you feel. You think this is considerate. It's surveillance of yourself. It's also work for them. They have to keep reassuring you that you're allowed. That is erotic herbicide. It kills everything wild. Mechanism: the soft ultimatum. You present a choice wrapped in politeness that isn't really a choice. It's totally fine if you're not into this. No pressure at all. We can just be friends. I just value you so much and want you in my life in any capacity. Translation they hear: choose me, but if you don't, I will still orbit you indefinitely. no urgency. No loss, no risk. Desire requires the possibility of losing access. You removed it. You made yourself permanent background. Background isn't chosen. It's assumed. You say, I'm just nice to everyone, which means no one feels your preference. Desire is fueled by being singled out. If your warmth is ambient, it doesn't read as interest. You complain that people never notice how much you care. They notice. It's just ambient. It doesn't cross the threshold from kind to charged. Look at your messages. How often do you send 2 in a row? 3? How often do you justify your ask with context that no one requested? How often do you sprint to accommodate a schedule that disregards yours? How often do you accept last-minute changes without stating a cost? Each micro-moment is a vote. You keep voting for your own disposability. Mechanism, the cool-down. The more you perform niceness, the more your body resents it. You think you're hiding that resentment. You're not. It leaks in tone, timing, phrasing. Your no worries carries a metallic aftertaste. They taste it and withdraw. You double down on niceness to overcompensate. Resentment grows. The cycle tightens. By the time you snap, you look irrational. They say, but you said it was fine. You did. You lied. The cruel part is you're right about one thing. Harshness isn't required. You don't have to become a villain. You have to stop bribing. Bribery destroys the very thing you want to infect with sweetness. It changes the frame from attraction to transaction. Once it's a transaction, the other person counts. Counting kills romance. Name the identity you're protecting. The good one. The good one never burdens anyone. The good one is never accused of being demanding. The good one never causes a scene. The good one is chosen as a comfort object, recommended as a friend, avoided as a lover. The good one becomes everyone's safe option and no one's primary desire. You already know which role you play. You hate it. You won't leave it. Because leaving it means exposing your appetite, your standards, your edge, and risking that someone will call you too much. You hide behind nice because you'd rather be called sweet than be called real and rejected. Watch what happens when you stop oversupplying. The first thing is not an avalanche of new desire. The first thing is panic years. You will want to refill the silence with compliment and concession. You will want to explain. Explanation is a bid for control in meek clothing. If you don't send it, the next thing happens. Real information arrives. Some people step closer. They were waiting for anything with a pulse. Others fade. They were only there because you underpriced yourself. You won't accept that because it means your old strategy kept ghosts around to avoid solitude. Mechanism, clarity tax. The instant you become explicit about what you want and where your boundary is, you pay a tax loss of those who are gaining from your vagueness. You pay once. You pay heavy. After that, the market stabilizes. But you don't get that far because you keep forgiving the tax by returning to niceness. You'd rather retain everyone at low intensity than lose most and face the quiet. You use gifts to speak for you. You use availability to ask for you. You pretend you're generous when you're afraid to be specific. You teach people to expect more generosity instead of more specificity. So they ask for more time, more flexibility, more understanding. You give it. You call them selfish. They're not selfish. They're consistent with the rules you wrote. Name the fiction you repeat. If they see how good I am to them, they'll eventually realize. Realize what? That you convert care into ownership? That you award yourself with a partner because you did the most chores? They realize you are attached to effort as entitlement. That's not love. That's accounting. Think about tone. Nice is tone before truth. You care more about sounding harmless than being honest. That choice broadcasts that you don't trust your own desires to be survivable in the room. So you coat them. Sugar kills appetite when poured over everything. They stop tasting you. At some point, you stop tasting yourself. Mechanism, the flinch. You flinch when the other person hesitates. You flinch when they take a beat before replying. You rush into the gap to assure, to lighten, to offer alternatives. You keep rescuing them from the responsibility of choosing you. Each rescue is a theft. You stole their chance to step toward you freely. You built a cage and decorated it with compliments. Then you complain that there's no heat inside it. You think you're gentle. You're not. You're suffocating. You wrap the dynamic in bubble wrap, then wonder why nothing inside it breathes. There's a phrase you use that gives you away. No pressure, seriously. You repeat it because you are pressuring. You're pressuring yourself to never be a source of stress. You're pressuring them to accept an arrangement where you do all the bending. You pressure both of you away from reality. Reality is where attraction lives. It is not kind. It is not cruel. It's a gradient. You step onto it or you don't. Your campaign against pressure is a campaign against physics. Now, a worse truth. Niceness doesn't just kill desire in the other person. It kills desire in you. You can't want someone strongly while you are busy contorting to be chosen. You replace wanting with needing to be picked. The moment you make being chosen your project, you stop choosing. Your own desire goes dim. That's why you end up in situations where you wake up next to people you're not hungry for. You gave up hunger to buy security. Security showed up as a long, equalized, flavorless lane with a friend at the end. You negotiated your way out of the very thing you claim you miss. Name the ritual. The preemptive promise. You promise you're different. You promise you won't make drama. You promise you won't ask for more. You promise to be easy. You deliver exactly that. Easy is disposable. You taught them to dispose of you gently. Some do. Some aren't gentle. You blame them for what you advertised. Consider the social version. You're nice to everyone. You entertain people who drain you. You nod for hours. You smile until your jaw aches. You keep options open you don't want because closing them feels mean. You carry the emotional weight of rooms to avoid feeling like a bad person. Then you wonder why the one person you want doesn't feel a pull. Your energy is spent on maintaining a world that owes you nothing. You're empty where it matters and overfull where it doesn't. Mechanism. Boundary debt. Every unpaid no becomes a debt you will try to collect later with interest. The interest arrives as bitterness and coldness. You think you're hiding it. You're not. It bleeds through. The other person feels the chill and steps away. You call them avoidant. You were avoidant of your own limits. Avoidance begets avoidance. You take pride in not complaining. You bury your pain under composure. Then you explode in metaphors. It would just be nice if someone did this for me for once. Vague, plaintive, unassignable. Because naming a want would expose a target. You would rather suffer generally than risk a specific refusal. That avoidance is why you've become a museum of unsaid things. People wander through and feel nothing. You curated yourself into silence. Here's the knife edge you've been dodging. Love requires the possibility of offense. Not harassment, not cruelty. Offense. A boundary someone didn't expect. A preference that isn't convenient. A refusal that halts their plan. The friction that proves you are not a costume made of agreement. Without that, no one can be attracted to you. Only attached to the version of you that never asks anything from them. You've been cultivating attachment by deprivation. It works. People cling. They don't burn. You will be tempted right now to defend yourself with anecdotes. You will say, you know couples where both people are nice and desire is alive. You don't see what they aren't doing. They are not appeasing. They are not overgiving to avoid rejection. They tell each other no. They fight well. They don't pretend ease when there is none. Their niceness is warmth over structure, not warmth instead of structure. You don't have that structure. You have a smile. Sit with the cost. Years. You dropped them in a slot machine that never paid out. You invested in fantasies where the other person would wake up one day and recognize what you provided. You rehearsed speeches. You never delivered them. You congratulated yourself on restraint. You called it patience and virtue. It was fear. You don't need to fix this tonight. You won't. You can't without breaking your favorite mirror. The mirror where you are morally superior because you never push. The mirror where you're safe because you never take the first cut. The mirror where being agreeable is proof of worth. That mirror has protected you from a sentence you refuse to say out loud. You think you are not worthy of being wanted unless you earn it. You think you need to add sugar to be tasted. You think your raw flavor will get spit out. Maybe it will. That's the entire point. That's the physics you've tried to engineer away with niceness. Mechanism. The first loss? The first time you let something fall, an invitation you don't accept, a plan you don't accommodate, a late cancellation you don't smile through, you will feel like a monster. They will look at you differently. Not all with desire. Some with anger. Some with relief. Some will vanish. You will read that as punishment. It's actually measurement. You are finally becoming measurable. You wanted a trick. You wanted a formula to keep the sweetness and get the pull. There isn't one. The sweetness was the shield. The shield blocked heat. You remove it or you don't. Keeping it and asking for fire is how you ended up here, late, alone, writing long messages to people who stopped reading 2 months ago. Look again at your last dozen communications. Count how many times you typed, LOL, smiley faces, no worries. If not, totally cool. I'm easy, don't stress, just checking in. Hope that's okay, unless you're busy. I totally get it. Sorry, my bad. This is your ration book. You are rationing out your self-respect in tiny doses so you can keep feeding a connection that doesn't feed you back. A pattern isn't random. It's a nervous system strategy. It worked in a different room, a long time ago. It's not working here. It is late. It is quiet. It is just you and your ledger. You know exactly where the numbers don't add up. You don't need encouragement. You don't need affirmations. You need to observe the law you've been violating. Desire doesn't thrive in rooms without gravity. You keep trying to pump scent into a vacuum. Nothing carries. Nothing clings. You don't owe anyone meanness. You owe the dynamic weight. You owe yourself the discomfort you've been outsourcing to nice. They won't thank you. Some will get angry. Some will leave. Some will look at you for the first time. The eye contact will feel different. It won't feel safe. It will feel alive. You haven't felt that in a while. That's why your body is startled by it. That's why you use a smile to sedate it. You won't unsee this. You will try. You will reach for emojis the next time someone pulls back. Your fingers will hover. You will be tempted to smooth it over. You'll remember why you used to. You'll hear the old voice. Be nice and no one can accuse you. Then you'll remember the other truth. No one can want you either. You trained people to treat you like a cushion. You did it because you were trying to be kind. You became furniture. Furniture is touched, used, relied on. It is not desired. It does not move. It is moved. That is the part that should make your stomach drop. Not because you're a victim. Because you participated in your own soft removal. The blame is irrelevant. The mechanism is not. Being nice destroys desire, because niceness, as you've practiced it, is the absence of self at the exact moments when self is the thing that attracts. You replaced presence with pleasantness. You replaced friction with foam. You replaced edges with etiquette. You built a bed. You forgot that beds are where people sleep. You can keep performing. You can keep auditioning. You can keep paying in compliments and discounts in hours. Or you can stop pretending that the bill isn't coming. It always comes. It comes as silence. It comes as, you're so amazing, I just don't feel that way. It comes as, you deserve someone who appreciates you. It comes as, You're like a sibling to me. It comes as a patient, painless extraction of you from the category you wanted to occupy. It comes with a hug and gratitude. It comes with no heat. You asked for this explanation, you got it. You don't need hope. You need an appetite you don't hide, and a no you don't apologize for. That won't make you lovable. It will make you real. Real is the only thing that creates desire that lasts. Not nice, not sweet, not safe. Real. The price of real is the death of the good one. You have mourned stranger things. You are not obligated to like any of this. You are not obligated to agree. You are obligated to recognize that your current strategy delivers exactly what it's designed to deliver. Smoothness, permission, access, and the silence inside where something volatile used to be. You keep trading heat for harmony. You end up in rooms that sound beautiful and feel dead. You did it because you were afraid. You still are. The fear is honorable. The pattern is not. Being nice destroys desire. Not because kindness is unattractive. Because niceness, as you wield it, is a mask made of compliance. You wear it to be touched without being known. People take the offer. They touch the mask. They never find you. Then you tearfully announce that no one sees you. They can't. You never came out. Turn off the lights. Look at your phone. Count the messages you sent into a void, padded with sweetness so the silence wouldn't cut as sharply. Feel the cost. Don't fix it. Don't vow. Don't write a manifesto to prove you've learned. Sit in the heavy truth. When you treat yourself like free, the world believes you. When you treat your edges like danger, the world avoids them. When you treat tension like poison, you never taste anything strong. This is not a pep talk. This is a coroner's report. The cause of death is obvious. You cushioned every fall until nothing could fall for you. You moderated every spark until nothing could burn. You were nice. It worked. It killed the thing you wanted. You wanted to be told, it isn't your fault. It is, not because you are cruel, because you kept choosing comfort over consequence. Desire doesn't live there. You do. That's why you feel so alone. You made a home in the one place it cannot follow, and you keep decorating it with compliments to distract from the cold. Leave it or stay. There is no pitch here, only gravity. You can argue with it, or you can allow yourself to weigh something again. Not out loud, not to anyone. Just here, heavier, quieter. You heard it, and you won't unknow it.